We have with us today Hansal Mehta and Raj Kumar, the director and actor of the upcoming film Shahid. Hi guys.
Hi.
It's an unusual choice for a biopic, right, Hansal? I mean, why Shahid?
Shahid sort of represented my own creative inertia and also my genuine concerns. Socially I had different concerns, and my films never reflected those. At least my past few films.
Right.
Post Dil Pe Mat Le Yaar, my films stopped reflecting what I stopped reacting to the world around me. And my concerns were always about what we as common people did about our situation. So Shahid represented today's times, what somebody in today's times would do if he wanted to do something.
Right.
So I thought it was a very important story. It's a film that I had to make.
Also, it's a rare contemporary biopic, right? We have a history of making biopics either on freedom fighters or lately sports people.
Yeah, I think I didn't make it as a conscious decision that it has to be a contemporary person, but I wanted
Right,
to.
but the court case, did that have any bearing on the
Nothing.
the story?
His death actually. His death was a trigger point. I read about Shahid Azmi's death, and that's the first time I read about Shahid. And
Okay.
when I started reading about him, I realized that this is a contemporary story. I wanted to make a contemporary story, and Shahid's story just jolted me out of my inertia.
But would you say it was Shahid, the man, who attracted you to the story, or was it the plot, the story itself, his story?
Well, the story emerged. I saw a story, the possibility of a story, so I decided to investigate, to explore further. But the man was fascinating. He was young.
Right.
It was almost Shahid the boy. He was 32, 33 when he was assassinated. So his life was fascinating. As we investigated, we realized that there was a story. There was a definite story. There was a film to make.
But were there other actors that you sort of toyed with the idea of casting in the lead role?
Yeah, there were. I didn't toy with them. I think there was pressure initially because I was coming back after 3.5 years, and my past film did not inspire confidence in too many people. So people said, "You want to make this film? Then get me this one, get me that one. This guy is the flavor right now.
Okay.
So I'll get so much money from this studio if you get this one. इतना पैसा मिलेगा अगर इसको लेके आओ." So I tried to play along. I met some people, and they first did not trust me enough, and secondly, they had their own version of the same story.
But at what point did you think Raj Kumar would be a good fit?
Well, when I had reached one point where I said, no, none of these guys, it's not going to happen.
Right.
So that's when we contacted Mukesh Chabra. He came into the picture, and I told Mukesh that, give me somebody who is going to be Shahid. Let's make a very authentic film. And from day one, Anurag had finished shooting with Raj Kumar for Wasipur. So Anurag had told me, look at Raj Kumar. And then Mukesh started hounding me and meet him. And when I met him, it was almost like a magic moment because I found an actor who, was wholeheartedly in support of my story. And I'll tell you, it's honest. I had seen Love, Sex or Dhoka. I knew that he was a good actor. But to get an actor who sort of is keen to work with you is a big deal for a filmmaker.
Raj Kumar, what did you feel about the story coming to you? I mean, had you been keeping track of what was happening with Shahid Azmi? Because it was all over the papers.
I was not aware about Shahid Azmi at all. I just read in some articles, some paper that there was this lawyer who was shot dead in 2010. But when I met him and he narrated me his life story for the first time, I was really thrilled as an actor. And also I was really inspired by his whole life story, the way his whole life has turned up. So I was very keen for the film. I just told him I really want to do this film. I'm very keen. I'm like, let's make this film the way we want to make it.
And how did you research for the role? Did you just stick to what the director told you, or did you do a little bit of your own?
No, I had to do some research about it because it's a real life character and we just can't do anything about it. So I spent a lot of time with the family, with his brother Khalid. So whatever I could gather from him, I did that. Basically, I just wanted to know him as a person, like how was he as a person, as Shahid. Physical transformation you can do, you can grow your hair, you can beef up or lose muscles. But you have to know him mentally. You have to go inside him. That what was his thinking process? How would he react to a particular situation. That was my main concern. And then I used to go sit in courts for hours to observe lawyers. So how does court functions? How do they behave? Some technicalities. Then I read about Islam a little bit. I read Quran Sharif. Yeah.
Okay. But the courtroom scenes in Shahid are absolutely, very different from what you usually see.
And no speeches, no bombastic speeches.
There's no bombastic speeches, but was this something you were initially aware of? Or is it something that you sort of delved into deeper after?
See, my first film, Jayate, was again a courtroom drama.
Okay.
It was Anurag Kashyap's debut as a writer, incidentally. When I did that, I had gone to court. I saw courtroom in process there, but I could not translate it on screen. My courtroom in that film was very, very quiet and dramatic dialogues written by Anurag Kashyap. Really dramatic dialogues and very dramatic. It was dramatic, like in the B.R. Chopra tradition, almost.
Yeah. But was the courtroom in that film similar to the courtroom we saw in Hindi films at that time, or was it similar to the one we see in Shahid?
No, it was somewhere in between, it was, and I was always dissatisfied. I think as a director, it was my first film. I wasn't mature enough to, or confident enough to actually build that kind of a complex courtroom scene. Because it was very complex. It looked very effortless. It was very complex. But this time, we went to the court, and then I had these actors. I had Raj Kumar, I had Vipin, I had Shalini. I had such phenomenal actors, Paritosh, who played the judge, who responded to the challenge. I said, just go to court and become lawyers, become a judge. Perhaps the freedom that I gave them. It was a nightmare for the sound engineer.
Why so? Why was it a nightmare?
Well, they were overlapping. They were screaming at each other.
It was location sounds.
There was location sound, and the sound engineer, sound recordist would keep signaling to me. So I stopped looking at him after one point. He would keep signaling. It would distract me. He would keep saying, when did this come? The dialogues written and what they spoke were completely different because we would discuss the case. We would not discuss dialogues.
Right.
And it was, the entire film is like that, where I did not allow them to really bring the script on the set. I said, just go for it. You feel the moment, be in the moment, and respond to that moment. Don't come with a baggage. Yeah, don't carry the baggage of the dialogues with you.
But Raj Kumar had a couple of monologues in the film, right? Did that stick to the script or with their?
No, no. I just that was something I as Raj Kumar also felt very, very strongly. Whatever I said in the film, because also I was shooting. By the time we started shooting courtroom scenes, it was quite some time that we started shooting the film. So I was into it totally. I was into Shahid. I could understand him very well. That what was his thought process? What is it that he actually wanted to say? So those monologues actually was something we just discussed, and I just give me like 5 minutes. I'll just make some lines in my mind, and then we'll see how it works. And I told him, this is something I really feel that I should say now. He said, yeah, if you feel like this.
And that worked for you as a director?
Yeah. We would discuss. See, dialogues came as a result of discussion. I did not allow actors to rehearse too much. If I saw an actor with a script, there were actors who would be there for a day or 2 days. So they, moment somebody would spot them. I told everybody in the unit, if you spot somebody rehearsing lines, come and tell me. Snatch the script away.
Rajkumar, you had an interesting year, right? I mean, Capuche was a bit of an ensemble piece. Here you are sort of playing the main lead. Also, out of the 7-8 films that you've done so far, I think this is the one with the most author-backed role to this point. Yeah. So was that somewhere playing in the back of your head when you took on the role? The fact that it was, sort of...
No, absolutely. As an actor, I think I would not like to miss the opportunity to play a title role. I think, and that too, like a biopic. I think that's like a treat for any actor who really loves his work. So I was just into it. The moment he said Shahid and this is the film and this is a life story biopic, I said, very nice, I'm there.
But were there any preconceived notions or any, like he said, baggage, but I wouldn't use the same word, but were you worried about a few things while approaching the character?
Like the director?
No, not at all. No. I think, no, I was not at all worried about anything. The day I met him and then we started meeting very often, and I knew that what kind of film he has in his mind.
I call it organic chemistry. Because, we developed a chemistry. And that chemistry sort of just percolated. Everybody, the actors, the entire unit, the technicians, I think we've developed a certain chemistry which allowed us to approach everything in a very organic manner. You would land up at locations, the cameraman had not done a recce. So he reached a point where he said, I'll just go there and react. Yeah.
But the courtroom scene specifically, was that shot in a studio or did you shoot?
Not exactly a studio, it was on location. But when we went to the courtrooms, both of us would be taking clandestine pictures in the courtroom. So we took all those pictures and recreated exactly what we had seen there.
Okay.
So
exactly the same chairs. People also actually, the way people were reacting in courts, we would ask a junior artist to just react in the same way. Okay.
There's largely boredom, right? I mean, on their
boredom.
faces.
And for people who are waiting, yeah, of course, for them, like, yeah.
In the conventional courtroom, you see a lot of wooden. In a film
like
courtroom, it's very, very pretty. Nice wooden paneling and all that. So we used plastic chairs. Then the art director kept fighting with me. I'll get beautiful chairs. I said, I don't want those beautiful chairs. I want plastic chairs, yeah.
Hansal, the character has more than one shade to it, right? There are a lot of controversial aspects about Shahid Azmi which have also come out in the papers. But when you're approaching the character as a filmmaker, are there times when you need to make that decision where you choose to leave out a certain controversial aspect because it's coming in the way of you telling a story? Or are you more concerned about giving a well-rounded, sort of portrayal of the guy?
See, finally, I'm making a film. I tried to compress 18 years of his life into a 2-hour experience. So you choose aspects of the hero's journey that you believe are in service of the film. So it's purely in service of the film.
But you're clear it's a hero. I mean, in your head.
Absolutely, he's a hero, not like a say a Milkha Singh. Okay, he's a hero. He's one of us, but his deeds are heroic, and his weaknesses are commonplace. He has weaknesses. He's not great with his family. I've let it be. He's not great with his family. He's the fact that he goes away to camp is a sign of weakness.
Hansal, your earlier films, Woodstock Villa, for example, Ye Kya Ho Raha Hai, they had very different. It had a very different sensibility. From rather, Shahid has a very different sensibility.
So putting it mildly by calling it different.
And so, I mean, how did that turnabout sort of come through?
I think those were a turnabout. After Chhal, I was really keen on getting some money in my bank account, and I was also being offered a lot of work. So like Anurag has been my conscience over those years.
Okay.
Like we would meet off and on. And he would not really talk nicely to me. And he would keep telling me, you've sold out. And at that time, I used to get very upset with him because he kept calling me a sellout. I was very upset with him because he did not see my point of view. And now I don't see my own point of view. There was no need. Because finally, if that was the reason I was making films, I would have done it better.
And Shahid has an entire indie feel about it, right? I mean, I believe you shot it on a very controlled budget. The way it's shot, the way it's cut, it's not mainstream in that sense. Was that also part of the process that you really enjoyed as opposed to what you did?
Yeah, actually I enjoy that. I always enjoy that. Even Chhal, although it was very stylized, it was shot in a very indie manner. It was a very low budget film, but shot in a very stylized manner. But again, at random locations with good actors. So it started there, that whole seed of shooting guerrilla style, and this script sort of lent itself.
But were there issues while shooting the film in terms of
Always.
things not working out?
Always, every day, every day. But after a point, it never felt like it was not working out. I knew that this was it. I felt almost like some divine design that was taking place. That I had to have a hurdle.
Was there any element about Shahid, any characteristic about the man which you felt uncomfortable about as an actor?
Uncomfortable about? No, not at all as an actor. I think it was very fascinating. It was as an actor, just purely from actor's perspective. I think this character is a really complex character. There's so much happening in his life. There's a lot of ups and downs. So-called graph is very much there. So as an actor, I was very thrilled that I could do so much in this film. So there were no apprehensions about anything.
Okay. What next, Hansal? I mean, are you going to stick to making Shahid-like films, or I mean, do you have anything planned?
Nothing planned. I have decided not to plan well in advance. I have decided that I've found my I found my peace. So I'm happy. I'm happy with making films that I'm really passionate, films that I really want to make. And I've realized that I want to make films that make me feel vindicated, you know, that reflect me, my personality, rather than somebody else's personality.
Is it an encouragement for a film like Shahid when a studio like UTV takes it up and decides to back it?
Absolutely.
How far does that go in terms of the film reaching the right audience?
Absolutely. I mean, see, UTV coming in, UTV saw the film quite early on. They saw it last year after Mami. And ever since then, you know, they've been passionate about the film. We've rarely spoken about numbers. From the time Sid saw the film, he came out and he said it's a very special film. And when their distribution head, everyone talks about how much they love the film. So, you know, it's a very unique mix. I never expected this from a studio.
And Rajkumar, what's next? What's happening after Shahid?
After Shahid, there's a film called Queen, which is finished, which will be coming in February. And there's another film I'm starting with Mahesh Bhatt production. And there are other 2-3 films lined up, like studios.
Right. Thanks a lot, guys, for joining us today.
Thank you.